webinar. I am Tracy O'Rourke, co-founder of the Just in Time Cafe. I'm going to be your moderator today. And today's webinar is titled How to Facilitate Successful Lean Events Using Mural. Gemma Jones is our first guest host. How are you today, Gemma?
I'm good, thank you. I'm brilliant. Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me.
And she comes all the way from the UK. She traveled a long way to come to this webinar, to the cafe. So Let me tell you a little bit about Gemma. She's the founder of Spark Improvement. She's a native of the UK. She helps businesses transform by turning people into problem solvers who can think lean. She's a 20-year veteran, although she only looks like she's 25, of continuous improvement in pharmaceuticals, dairy, cosmetics, toiletries, food, and medical devices. Do not underestimate the knowledge of this woman. Gemma is committed to helping organizations be the best they can be. Welcome, Gemma. So happy to have you.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
We were just talking about how we got dressed up today. Okay, some of you might be able to be in your pajamas still, but we actually did it all the way. Gemma's even wearing perfume for you guys today. So So just a few housekeeping notes before we begin. So we do have some question and answer session at the end, but you know us, please feel free to answer or ask any questions you have during the session. Enter them in the chat window. I'm going to be moderating the chat for Gemma, and please go ahead and use that. We welcome your participation. Gemma has a couple questions she's going to ask you throughout the session to get a feel for our audience out there. These webinars and slides are going to be available for free. We'll post them in our Just in Time Cafe website in the next coming weeks. So let's see who all these people are that are coming to see you, Gemma.
Yay.
So we have people from Germany. I'm going to say this wrong. Is it Ergun? We have Philip from Port St. Lucia, Florida. Mandela from the Port of Seattle. Thanks for joining us. Paul from Hartford. Christoph from Switzerland. We have Dorsey. Hi, Dorsey.
Hi, Dorsey.
We have Jeff from Indianapolis. Christine from the city of Detroit. Gina from Victorville. Yura, how's it going? From Shoreline, Washington. Tracy from Canada, thanks for coming. Ruth from Canada as well. Angela Miller, how are you? Elizabeth Swan. Pam from, well, she didn't say, she just said woohoo. Deborah from Hudson. So lots of people. Debbie all the way from Dubai. Nice to have you here as well. And Kara, how's it going? From Seattle. Sabine from Carlsbad. Okay, I just see a lot of people I know. I want to say hi to everybody, but we don't have time for that. So thanks for joining. So just a couple notes that I want to say. So this is a really big day for us. In the past, GoLean6Sigma.com has hosted these webinars and podcasts for us. And moving forward, we are now going to be at the Just in Time Cafe. This is going to be our new home. So let me tell you a little bit about the Just in Time Cafe. Elizabeth and I have found the Just in Time Cafe in order to cultivate a hub where problem solvers connect, share, and grow. And these are our core values. We believe in cultivating community. We love people. We love problem solvers. We love solving problems. And we want to create an inclusive and positive space where people around the world connect with each other to learn and grow. We also believe in a trailblazing spirit, especially in COVID. Man, have we had to figure out how to do stuff differently, haven't we? I mean, that's actually the point of this webinar, is because we're still trying to figure out the best way to really engage people in a virtual environment. And I think that's why you're here as well, because you want to do a better job of that and create a constant state of awesomeness. So that is our goal. And finally, the rising tide. We believe that by lifting each other up, we will strengthen the global problem-solving community. So thank you for joining us today. We are really excited about our new place, and we're going to have webinars and we're going to be also installing a new chapter of our podcast too. So stay tuned. And for now, I'm going to hand over the reins to Gemma so she can show us how much of a rock star she is with Mural. And by the way, you're looking at Mural. We're not looking at PowerPoint right now. We're looking at Mural. So I'm sure Gemma will explain that. So take it away, Gemma.
Cool. Thank you so much. What a brilliant introduction. And first of all, Elizabeth and Tracy, I'm so thrilled for you with your new home and this amazing thing you're creating. So everybody, welcome. It's so cool. We've got people from all over the world. You said there some really great locations. I know one person, Debbie, is in Dubai, and I know it's pretty late at night. So, hey, Debbie, I hope you're still awake. And my aim is to kind of keep you excited through to the end. So today we're going to be talking about how to facilitate successful remote lean events using Mural. So for those of you who don't already know, Mural is a digital workspace for virtual collaboration. It's basically, if you can do something on a whiteboard or on a flip chart or on rolls of paper with pens and sticky notes, you can do all of that in Mural remotely and collaboratively, so lots of people can be in the same space working together. First of all, I need to say I'm not connected to Mural at all. Okay, so I'm not trained by them. They don't know anything about me. I'm not connected to them. I pay my license fee the same as everyone else. So please don't think I'm trying to sell it to you. There are other versions of this kind of software. There's ways you can do this for free in Google products and Microsoft products. I've tried a lot of them and I still come back to Mural. I think it's the best. It's my favorite, and it's my favorite for using with people who are not familiar with it. So in terms of our agenda today, I'm going to do a bit of talking, like Tracy has said. First of all, I'm going to talk through sort of designing murals, and then before, during and after, things to do during an event. And then we're also going to have an interactive session afterwards. So if you're able to stick around for that, it's going to be loads of fun. We're going to invite you into another mural where you're going to get a chance to actually play and practice and have a go yourself. But at any point during the presentation, please feel free to ask questions, like Tracy said. I'm absolutely happy to be interrupted and for people to ask questions. Otherwise, I could just keep talking and talking and talking, and we could just be here for hours. So I'm very passionate and very excited about using Mural. Okay, so first of all, as Tracy said, the content you're seeing here on your screen is actually within Mural. So I'm using it to present this work to you today. I'm doing that because I want to show you how to do that, but also because this is a lot of the way that I will present in events. I think it's a really good way to do it. So think of, I'm posting things in here just as I would in PowerPoint to show them to you today. So I'm going to scroll out first of all, just to show you the extent of the canvas that I'm using today to present to you, to give you an idea. So if you haven't seen Mural before. So the background, the extent of my mural that I'm using, my canvas today, I've actually made it black because that's easier for me to navigate. If I make it white again, you can sort of see. So this is basically a large canvas or a whiteboard in the ether that we're using to work on, and we can actually make this whatever size we want. It's sort of infinitely big. So if I go into here just to show you, the default size is quite small. You can make it bigger, you can also make it vertical, or you can make it a custom size, or much easier actually, you can just hang your cursor over here on the right hand side, and I can make the mural itself as big as I want. I can also make it as tall as I want. I can make it much bigger. So this is basically a great big whiteboard on which I'm working. So I'm going to make it grey again just because it's easier for me to navigate. And what I've done on my mural is I've created these slides, these white rectangles, which I'm going to use to walk you through my content. Now, the reason I like to present in Mural is, let's say you were doing a brainstorming session with a team and you wanted to present them some information first off, maybe some graphs or some data or some videos or some photographs. You could do that all in PowerPoint and then transition into the mural, but I feel that's a bit clunky. I actually like to be able to walk people through the information on the mural. And then when they, when I invite them in and we're working on it collaboratively, if they want to refer to some of that information or they want to go back and look at it, they can just zoom straight over there. So this is one big whiteboard, and I've created these slides and areas for information.
Gemma, I have a comment on that too.
Okay.
The PowerPoint, a lot of people have their stuff already in PowerPoint. And I just wanted to point out that you'll notice that the first two slides we went over on this presentation are PowerPoint slides. And we just took a picture of it and put it into Mural because we thought it would be easier to just keep it in Mural the whole time, as opposed to us trying to do it in PowerPoint and then share her screen and go there. So that's an easy way to get some of your stuff that you would normally have PowerPoint into this. Sorry, just wanted to say that.
No, that's cool. You're right. You can just snip the screen and stick it in as an image. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, and I can actually jump through these slides just like you might do in PowerPoint as well. So there's a tool up here, which I will explain a bit more about later, called the outline. And what I can do is I can link my slides in here, or my pieces of my artifacts on my mural, and I can link them to an outline over here. So if I click welcome, that takes us to the welcome slide. If I click the next slide, and you see it almost steps me through, just like if you were using PowerPoint. Now you can actually present, there is a proper presentation mode here. I'll just show you what that looks like. And it's very much like PowerPoint. So you can click through these slides and it navigates through just like you would on PowerPoint. I don't want to use that today because I actually want to be able to edit the slides, and I'm going to show you how to add and take things away, and you can't do that in presentation mode. But you could do that if you wanted to. So this is the mural. This is what we're going to work through. And now I want to move on to our first question. So our first question for the audience is, we'd like to know how much experience you have using virtual collaborative whiteboards like Mural. And to answer this, we'd like you to annotate this in Zoom. And if you haven't done this before, I'm going to explain how you do that. So, and again, this is a really useful tool for using in Zoom, not necessarily just in Mural, but in Zoom. If you take your cursor up to the top of your screen, you should see a little menu called View Options. And if you click on there, you can click Annotate and then choose a stamp, and you can mark the screen in front of you with a stamp to show your level of experience with virtual collaborative whiteboards, depending on this scale down at the bottom, ranging from I did not know they existed, right the way up to I facilitate using them frequently. So it'd be really useful to start to know people's experience.
I went ahead and put the instructions in the window. If you missed that and you were filling up your coffee or something and you're just getting back, if you'd like to annotate, the instructions are in there. Gemma, can you make sure those are right? No. Go to the Zoom menu at the top, View Options, click on Annotate, select the stamp, and put it on your Zoom screen.
It does seem that people, I think in the chat, people are saying they don't see that option. So maybe because it's a webinar, Tracy, maybe people don't have that option.
Yeah, that's true. There is Annotate. If you slide, well, I see it, but I'm a host.
But you're a host.
View Options, then it might say request, it might say Annotate. But if you don't see that, it's okay. This is what we're going to do. You are going to tell me in the chat window what your experience is. Pick one of these, type it in, and then Gemma can do something with that information.
So if you tell me them,
okay,
and then I will. So tell me what people are saying.
Okay, I have 3 that say I've never used, 4 have never used total. One person said frequently, another person said occasionally. Good. This is great. This is a great way to use it. We have I have participated in using them.
Yeah.
We facilitate frequently. Maria, thank you. We know her and we know she
does. Hi, Maria.
Debbie says she's participated. Cherie says I've never used them. Sunitha, I've never used them. I've never used them. I've never used them. Good. So Kara says she has participated in using them. Grace has facilitated one. Let's see. Very good. So that's great. We were able to ad hoc that to get an idea. And now you're building a Pareto. Isn't that cool? So
cool.
So Ruth says she's never used. Charles says she's never used. Bridget says yellow. See, hey, these are great because they're color coded too. You could have just put in the color, which is great.
Nice.
Got a couple more. Angela says never used. Joaquin never used. Jeff Mallet never used. Yura, she uses them occasionally. Ergen occasionally. That's 4 for occasionally. So good. So this is great. And I think this webinar is actually geared towards orange. I've never used them, or you have not so much participation in using them. And I'm going to say too, I'm super excited because I just started using this for some of my activities. I did a Kaizen event recently. I was getting ready to do a Kaizen event and I'm using Mural. I'm super excited about it.
Cool.
All right, there you go. Thanks for asking that question.
Brilliant. And just to explain to you how I did that with these black squares. So what I've done is just add a small black sticky note. So to add a sticky note in Mural, which you'll get to see throughout the session today, is you just double click on the mural and a sticky note appears that's the same as the one closest to it. So you can see I've got a green one up here, which is why a green one's appeared there. But if I double click over here, it's adding a black one. So all I've done is just add some black sticky notes, which have effectively acted as a nice graph for us to show. So that's brilliant, because this is where we were tailoring to. So these guys who are sitting up here, still be useful to get your input in terms of stuff in the chat. If you've got extra tips or you've got extra things that I'm not mentioning, that's also really useful. Cool. So that was our first question. We've got another question. And this one is what events or activities would you like to be able to run virtually? So please tell us in the chat, and then Tracy's gonna read them to me and tell me what they are, and I'm gonna add them to this slide.
Yeah, and so while you're doing that, I'm really excited because you get to see how people could use this. Now, typically you would all be in there at the same time adding Post-its, but because you're only viewing Mural right now, this is how we're doing it to give you an idea of how it would look. Okay, Kaizen, affinity diagrams, 2 for Kaizen, so we'll just count that as 2. Crucial conversations, very nice, Kara. Value stream maps, VSMs.
Cool.
More Kaizen events. Okay, this is cool. Somebody wrote, I want to do a Secret Santa gift exchange. Love it. And you want to make it lean. Moshkan said that. Love her. Process mapping workshop. Brainstorming, Grace says. Statusing. Training. Am I going too fast? I'll slow down.
Training. So I missed what did you say before training?
Statusing and brainstorming. Very nice. So really easy to do. Gemma's keeping up pretty well, but you can imagine where this is where you might pick up speed virtually is when everybody can go in there at the same time and put in their own Post-its. And then you get to see what people are typing, and you can thumbs up it or icon it and say, yeah, thumbs up, or barf, I don't like that idea. Interactive workshops, team building, leadership development sessions. Hi, Amy. So yes, leadership development sessions could be great. We're going to be doing one of those coming up in the near future using Mural as well. So we'll have to exchange ideas, Amy. More Kaizen events, lessons learned, or I'm going to throw it in there and say reflection, right? So what did you learn about today's session? Give us some feedback, like plus delta feedback.
Cool.
Let's see, 5 behaviors of a cohesive team. Kara's got all the fancy tools. Virtual visual stations, Julie, that sounds interesting. I'm going to guess.
What was that? Virtual?
Yeah, that's what she said. Virtual visual stations.
Stations, nice. I like it. I don't know what it is, but it sounds great.
Yep. Kanban, nice. Process walks. So I'm doing a process walk right now virtually, and unfortunately we weren't able to use Mural, but it would have been great for that.
Yeah.
And simulation. I think that's a great one, Maria. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, simulations can be amazing in Mural.
Yes. Okay, and strategic planning. Yes,
nice.
Good. Yeah. That's a good one too, especially when, you're with executives and they need something to do with their hands to stay busy. All right, that's great. Lots of activity there. And so now you got to participate in visually how Mural might work for you in this kind of environment, because we just brainstormed activities.
Absolutely. Brilliant. That's really good. And yeah, that gives me a lot of information about what people might use it for, and hopefully that can help me tailor this a little bit to these things. So these are, so the Secret Santa gift exchange, never thought of that one. So I'm loving that. That's super cool.
Me too.
I want to be in that Secret Santa. Hey, I'll do a mural for you if you let me be in it.
I'm in if we get to wear a costume.
Of course. Yeah. I'm surprised, Tracy, you didn't bring a costume today.
Yeah. I don't have a Mural-like costume, but I could probably come up with one.
Brilliant. Okay, so that's brilliant. Thank you very much, everyone. So I hope you've seen there how easy it is to add sticky notes, and also you may have seen me changing the colors, and you can also change the size. You can also, if I click on here, I can change the size of the text. I can also change which font they're written with. So some of them are easier to read than others. And if Tracy Defoe is here, she'll be telling me off because I haven't.
Well, she is here, just so you know.
Oh, is she here? Okay, gosh. Right. So so we should be not centrally justifying our post-it notes. Right. So you can see how easy it is to add them. And if you imagine you could have lots of people in at once, brainstorming, ads and sticky notes, just like you would in person with sticky notes. Okay, so we're going to get onto our content because I'm conscious that I could just keep chatting forever. So we're going to talk about the design phase. Okay, so, designing a mural. And the goal here really is about designing a slick, inviting, engaging space. Now, obviously, that's important when you're doing in-person workshops. Having the content or the room layout or the materials you've got available are important. But it's even more important when you're designing a remote or a virtual event or exercise, because you've got to really keep the engagement and you've really got to get those people on the hook. It's far easier for them to go and do something else, to be on Facebook on their phone when they're on a screen. When you've got them locked in a room, it's much easier to keep them engaged. So you've really got to work on that engagement piece. So when designing a mural, for me, the first thing to do is to start with the why. So why we're here, what we're doing, what do my audience really want out of this, and what do I really need to achieve? Now, obviously, this is important, like I say, with in-person, but with a virtual, I think it's even more beneficial to spend some time getting it right. So the way I like to do this, depending on the size of the workshop, but the way I like to do this with a workshop is to really think about my client or the people that I'm working with, or the people that are going to be in the room. And I like to use the idea of a persona. So this is a template that I use very often from designerbetterbusiness.com. Got loads of really brilliant templates, and they work really well in Mural because you can stick them straight in as an image. So this is an image that helps you think about the different aspects of the people that are going to be in the room, in the virtual room. So what are the kind of negative trends in their environment and positive trends? What are their headaches at the moment? What are their opportunities? What are their hopes and fears? What do they really want? And I tend to add a little thought bubble on top of their head, which is kind of what is the big thing they're thinking about. Now, I've filled this in before today's workshop. I'm just going to show you there. So this is kind of, I thought about one type of person who might be here today on the webinar. I've given her a name. I've chosen, this isn't anybody in particular. This is just a Google stock image. I've called her Chloe. She's a CI manager. She really wants to show that she can still train, engage, and work on projects effectively. And her sort of big thing she's thinking about is how can she engage people the way she used to. Now, going through this exercise, which I did in Mural, you can see the Mural post-it notes there, just makes me really tune in to what my attendants at my event are going to want, what might they be looking for, and really helps me think about designing it with them in mind. So that's a template I might use to do that. Sometimes I'll hand draw it, but in Mural, I can just put it straight in from the designerbetterbusiness.com website. So the second thing, and this is really crucial, is to really keep it simple, partly to save you time, but also to make it very clean and easy for your users to interact with. So I will usually build my murals very simple, using simple blocks, text and icons. So this is a very simplified, and for all the CI practitioners out there, I know this is oversimplified, but this is an example of a template you might use for working with a team looking for ideas for improvement. So I've got a space over here to welcome them in, where we might do a little bit of a welcome and an icebreaker, an area in the middle for a brainstorm, and then maybe we'll affinity group and we might dot vote. And then we've got a space over here for next steps. And this is simply a blue box, a blue square, and 3 white squares with some text and some icons. Now, to add text into a mural, you can just right-click, add a title, and you can just type straight in. It's very, very simple. You can change the size of the font and the size of the words and the font and so on very easily. You can add icons very easily as well. So I can just drag an icon straight in from over here and stick it onto the mural. So it's very, very simple to build it up and very, very simple to add to it.
Gemma, I'm just going to go ahead and let you and say that I am not even close to Gemma's expertise, but I am ramping up quickly, and it is very simple to do some of these things. Like I spent a few hours figuring out what I wanted to do and figuring it out, and then I was able to build something that looked really nice. And I know you're probably going to talk about this later, but I think a lot of people wonder, well, what's the complexity of getting people to use this? And I think you're going to probably talk about the visitor link, which is people can go into this mural with a link. They don't have to put in their email, their name, nothing, and it goes right into it. You're going to see that when she does the intro. So I'm really liking it from a ramp up period. You know, we always worry that, you know, it's too complicated, it's too confusing, people spending too much time to figure out what's going on, and we can't get the work done. I'm really finding that Mural doesn't do that. It's pretty simple and easy, and people like it, and they can get to work pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's the reason I prefer Mural over the other options for this kind of thing. I think it's very intuitive, and it's much easier for somebody new coming in who's not used to this. In my experience, the thing that people find the hardest is moving around in Mural is kind of click and drag. So you click on the mural to move it around, and you zoom in and out, and that's the kind of the thing that people just need a little bit of help getting used to. The other thing I just want to explain, you may have noticed that I've got these white, you might see here, I've got a white box where I'm covering up some of my content. So if you were doing this in PowerPoint, you can have stuff appear with animations. Can't do that in Mural. So the way I get around that is I use these white boxes to cover up the content that I don't want people to see straight away. And I don't know if it comes through on your screen, but they've all got a very faint number in the center, so I know which order to peel them off in. So I can use that to kind of show my user. But by having it covered up, you know, they're not distracted and reading something that I don't want them to read yet. So another way to keep it simple is to paste in your existing templates. So things that you might use in person, that you might draw by hand or you might print out. And you can upload those as images into your Mural app, into your account. So in here, there's the content library. So I'm just going to show you an example of how to do that. I don't know why they're not coming up with the images today. But so this is an example of a template that I use, a Fishbone template that a lot of you will recognize. So I can make that as big as I want. This is just that I've just quickly drawn this digitally drawn this. If I lock this down, right click, lock this. You always, anything you don't want to move and you don't want people to be able to move, you can always lock it to the screen and then it doesn't move around. So this is a very simple template. People can then add their sticky notes in for their, you know, the things they want to add, just like they would in person. I can also add a sticky note up here, make it bigger, and it's disappeared. It's because it's gone behind. So it's disappeared behind there for some reason. So let me bring it to the front. And I can then have, and I don't know why that won't work. That's never happened before. Right, so I can put the sticky note straight onto that image, that I've dragged in. So I've now got sticky notes everywhere. So you can have all kinds of templates that you might have. I'm going to give you another example of a template that I can bring in. So this is an A3 that I use that is actually within Excel. So I've taken a screenshot of this from Excel and I've added this in as a template that I can use. So I can now use this and I can add sticky notes, and I can also add text boxes. So if I add a text box here as a title, I could type in this, we might be looking at quality issues on line 4, for example. And I might want to add my team, and I can then add information to this template just as I might do in person. So you can add all kinds of content in that you've already got, that's existing things that you might use. So we were over here. So you can paste in your existing templates just as images. So I have a couple of apps on my phone, so I can very simply take a picture of something and upload it straight away as an image, or I can draw it digitally and add it in very simply. Another thing you can do is actually use frameworks that are available in Mural. They've done a lot of the work for us, and there's a lot of really brilliant and really creative things available. So I'm going to show you some examples of that. If I go into this section here called frameworks, they've got very simple things, and sort of 2x2 and 3x3 matrices and a bullseye type template. but there's also some more complicated things. So one that we might use as lean practitioners might be a sort of, you know, idea prioritization matrix. Let's just make the font a bit smaller. So I can add that in here. I can have that in as part of my mural. I don't have to create that myself. I can lock it down. And then people can add projects, sticky notes, whatever they want all over here. They can make those whatever size they want, and color they want, and so on. So we can add elements straight away in. And there's some really great, really, you know, complex things. There's some, if you're into your lean canvas or your business model canvas, those already exist in here. Empathy maps. There's a 5 whys here thing that I'm not a massive fan of. We'll skip over that one. Yeah, so there's some really brilliant templates and things already in Mural. So they've done a lot of work for us already. Another thing you can do is you can use other publicly available templates, like the one I showed you just now from Design a Better Business .tools. You know, there's a lot of information there. So we can keep it simple, and we can stick to existing templates rather than necessarily having to build it from scratch. Now, depending on how many people you're going to have in your mural, you might want to try and keep it light. So if you've got more than, they say the official guidelines are like 20 to 25 people. If you've got more than that, you want to really keep it light. So sticky notes, titles, and icons are all very light, but images and videos are much heavier. So as tempting as it is to add a little cat, dancing cat, I don't know why you do that, but as tempting as it might be to add videos, that's going to slow it down a lot. So if you've got a lot of people in your mural, you want to be careful and be hesitant. The odd video can really add some interest and you know, really get people engaged, but overdoing it is not great. And if you're using images, keep them as low res as you can so that it doesn't slow the performance of the mural down. I've only ever seen it once really affected, and that was about 400 people in the same mural, and there were some really big images, and people were adding other images, and it got a bit patchy. It was still usable, but it was just a bit patchy. Okay, so don't do the dancing cat gif, that's bad. Okay, so my third point is to make sure you design your mural so that people get in quick, so that people get on the board, actually interacting with the board, adding their comments, adding their information very quick, within the first 3 minutes of opening it. If they're going into a mural, or you know, they're going into something and you're just talking for a long time, then it's likely you're going to lose their engagement quite quickly. And always include an icebreaker. So I know we might be a bit hesitant about doing those in person. They're always a bit awkward, aren't they? Where we, you know, sort of looking sideways around the room, and we've got to do this engagement piece, but it's really important in a remote event. So there's a few different ways you can do that. I'm going to talk through a few of my favorite ones. So if participants are global, like we are today, can maybe consider using a map. So on this example, you know, I'm working with people and I've asked them to add a sticky note where they are, where they're located. You could also ask them to add some icons around the sides of their sticky notes saying, you know, their interests or where they're from. Or you could theme or tailor those questions to whatever the event is on. But using a map is really nice, a quite nice thing for people to be able to see where everybody's dialing in from. Another thing we can do, if you've got less people involved, if the group is smaller, you can create a virtual table. So you can literally create an image of a table with some sticky notes around the outside and ask people to choose a sticky note or choose a chair, add their name, and then maybe add some icons. So I've put my name and I'm going to add some icons about my interests. So I might say, right, I really like reading books. So I'm going to add that one, and I really like watching movies. So I'm going to choose the popcorn because I love a popcorn. So people can quickly add a bit of information about themselves, and then you can literally go around the table and ask them to introduce themselves, just like you would in real life. So you can actually create this little table for them to introduce themselves.
That sounds fun. It's
cool. It's really nice. And you know, there's something about who, like, I've seen people arguing about who they're going to sit next to on the virtual table. Like, it feels real. So then my third example, which is a bit more complex, is you can create a series of tasks to get to know people. So this is a simple example, but this is for one person. So if I had 12 people in a session, I might have 12 of these in a row. And you're asking them to do different things, partly to introduce themselves and also partly to build their skills in Mural. So for example, this first one says add a circular sticky with your name. So if I add a sticky, you can actually change between circular ones, rectangular ones, and square ones in here. So this one has come up as a circle already. So I can add a circle with my name and then maybe add an image of your hometown. So if I go over here to images on the left-hand side, I live somewhere called Chapel in the UK. So it's just like a Google search. So it comes up with some images. So I can now add in a little image of where I live. That's literally just down the road from me. My favorite drink, always, a G&T, of course. My worst habit, finishing people's sentences. Right, so you can see you can type in and add some information. Now on this one it says draw a selfie. So you can also draw on the sticky notes in Mural. So if I click on a sticky, wait a minute. Right, I'm going to add a new one. Right, if I click on the sticky, there's a little pencil icon above it here. If I click on there, it switches it to sketch, and I can then draw a little picture of myself. Now this is always a lot of fun because nobody, however artistic you are, can draw a good picture on a tiny post-it note using the sketch function. So everybody gets a good giggle at people's terrible images of themselves. And sometimes I get people to draw each other, and that's even funnier. But what's quite nice about this, because there's a series of tasks, is it means the people who are much more experienced in Mural will get much further down the line. And the people who are new and who are learning, they won't get so far, but that's okay because they're learning. It's also, you can make it a bit like an obstacle race. And that's my favorite kind of icebreaker, is where you have a whole line of these with different kinds of tasks, like maybe join the dots or drawing lines in boxes or particular shapes in boxes. So you're asking people to do, they're sort of developing their Mural skills whilst they're having a bit of fun, and they get to laugh at each other. So that's another example of ways to get people in quick and get them engaged with the Mural very quickly. So I now have another question for you, and that is, what is your favorite icebreaker that you use at in-person events? And then we can think about whether we would be able to do that in Mural. So
all right, go ahead and type those in the chat window, and I'm going to read them off to Gemma. And I saw a question from Moshkan that I'm going to ask you in a little bit too.
Okay.
M&Ms. So we have from Julie, M&Ms icebreaker.
M&Ms.
M&Ms. That's interesting. You might need to explain that a little bit, because I have an
interesting.
interesting. Yep, M&Ms. 2 truths and a fib or a lie.
Nice. We could definitely
those. Actually, a lot of people have said that. Boy, that's because people are good liars, I think. Another one is, what do you carry in your purse or wallet?
Nice.
Tracy Defoe said that you did just fine earlier, and her favorite is stand up if. I want to hear a little more about that too.
Oh, okay. That sounds interesting.
I like Mandela's take on the 2 truths and a fib. He says 2 truths and a dream. I like that.
Oh, I like that. Nice.
Let's see. We have Kara writes superhero. What's your superhero power? Or what's your favorite superhero? Either one of those will work.
Okay, cool. What's your superhero power?
Yep. Fun fact about our hometown. I'm going to have to record all these because I'm going to have to steal some of these ideas.
So was that fun fact about hometown, did you say?
Yeah, fun facts about your hometown.
Cool.
Ahmad said your favorite book and why.
Oh, nice, like that. Favorite book and why. Lovely. Yep.
Paul says share one thing no one knows about you.
Oh, nice.
I always give people the HR rule on that. It has to be something you're okay with sharing and other people are okay with hearing. Like, whoa, I don't know if I wanted to know that. Okay, something fun about you that's not on your resume.
Lovely. Cool. Cool.
Okay.
I like these. I like these.
Amy wrote, what's your first job, first car? Those are good. First music you bought with your own money.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, now it's only $1.99 to buy music. Free. You don't even have to buy music anymore. If you were stranded on a desert island, what food would you want to have? And then my favorite is, what is your pet peeve?
Oh, yeah, good.
I try to say work pet peeve.
Okay.
Those are interesting. First concert you ever attended? There could be a lot of first questions when it comes to favorite icebreakers. Claim or your claim to fame or brush with fame. These are all good ideas too. We've got lots of good examples on that.
Awesome. Awesome. Cool. No, that's really good. And I think I'm pretty sure, like, I don't know what the M&Ms one is, so I don't know what that means, but I think the rest of those.
Oh yeah, she did say what it was. It was you pass around a bag of M&Ms and tell us something about you for each M&M you take.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Okay, so maybe
anyway.
send them a bag of M&Ms in the post,
Uh-huh.
and we could eat them and they could share as they eat them.
Yep.
Then you get a whole bag to yourself. That's got to be better. Okay, that's brilliant. So yeah, I'm pretty sure most of those, there would be a way that we could design that into Mural and that you could use the functionality in there to do that. So that's awesome. That's awesome. I love some of those. They're great.
Yeah. And I just think, again, you guys got to see how it manifests in Mural with this exercise, but ideally you're all in there at the same time, and then you can organize them, move them around, whatever you want to do, copy and paste all the Post-its onto a new mural. That's super cool too. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, let me just show you actually that. So this can be really useful. So I can drag and I can copy all of those murals and all of those Post-its, and I can duplicate them, and I've now got a copy of them. So what I quite like to do if I'm doing brainstorming or something, I'll have everybody brainstorm in one section, and then I'll copy and paste them into another, which is where we would affinity group them. So I've got a copy of them all as they were, and then we can work on another copy just in case. Okay, cool. That's awesome. Thank you. So now we're going to move to the section where I'm going to talk about before the event. So this is things to do to sort of help people get to the event, just like we might provide directions or, explain where an in-person event is going to happen. We want to get them in that room on the day we need them. And we want to engage and incite people before they arrive. So my first tip around that is around technical help. So it's really important to be very clear up front on the technical requirements of Mural. So ideally, it's best if people are at a PC or a laptop. You can do it on an iPad. I think that I haven't used it on an iPad, but I know people who have. But it's not ideal on like a smaller tablet or on a mobile phone. Also, it's useful to have two screens if you're using Mural and Zoom. So I tend to have my Mural on my big screen and then Zoom on my smaller tablet of my laptop. But that's not definitive. You don't have to do that. It's just a little bit easier. You can also split your screen. So if you've got one screen, you can have Mural on the majority of it and then have a window down the side for Zoom. Also, it's, you really do need an external mouse. So the way I'm zooming in and out here, I'm using the little track wheel on my mouse. Makes it a lot easier. And adding sticky notes, adding lines and images and icons is much easier if you've got a mouse. It's very hard if you're using a trackpad or one of those little track buttons. So much easier if people have an external mouse, and it's good if you explain this up front. Also, Tracy said earlier, it's useful to tell people what they're going to see when they enter Mural. So this is what you see. So you'll see this screen when you give people a visitor link. They can add their name if they want to. They can add an email if they want to. Those are entirely optional. Or you can enter as an anonymous visitor. And I just want to show very quickly how easy it is to select that link and to share that link. So there's a big share button up here on the top right-hand corner. If I click there, so the first option is to invite people, but this is actually inviting people into the workspace. So they'll make you pay. That's a licensed option. So instead you want to click on visitor link. So if you click on visitor link, you then click copy that link. And this is the permissions that I've got set on here are that people can edit them. You can change them so that people can come in and just view them. So if you just want to share it so that people can just view the content, you can change that. And then you just copy and paste that link straight into an email to people or straight into the chat if you're using Zoom and so on. So explain to people what they're going to see when they go to open Mural. And this should allay any fears. They don't have to enter any details. They don't have to have a Mural account. They don't have to do any of that. And then it's also really useful, and I always do this if I'm working with groups who've not used Mural before, is to offer a chance for them to try out Mural before the session. So I have a very simple sandbox setup, which people can go into. It explains how to navigate the board, to click and drag and move around, and how to zoom in and out, and also explains how to add a sticky note and how to draw on a sticky note. And then there's a space in here for people to add one, and I've got a little map that they can zoom right into and add a sticky note as well. And what this means is people get a chance to try it out, and then if they can't use it, or they have a problem, or they've got permissions settings on their work laptop or something, they can contact me and I can hop on Zoom and help them through that. Very often it's just, like I said earlier, the problems I see are where people just don't get the click and drag way of navigating it. And once I've explained that, it's just a few minutes and then they understand.
Hey,
so yeah.
Sorry, really quick. We only have about 15 minutes left. And I will say that Moshkan also had a question about the A3 that I was meaning to ask you earlier. She wanted to know, when you transfer the document to the actual document, how do you do that? When you gather input and then you manually transfer the content, how do you do that? What would you suggest there?
So was that on the A3, on the problem solving template? So I haven't used that in here yet, but what I would do is I would work with people and they can add that content, and then you can snip that as an image. So, and it could be fairly high resolution because you could expand it to the whole screen. So you just snip it as an image. Obviously that's not necessarily helpful if you want to then have it in an Excel document, but it could be a starting point for a brainstorm and for getting the first points down on there.
Okay,
that's what I would say. So was your first part of that message telling me to hurry up? Yeah. We got a lot to cover. We're going to have to do a session 2 here at some point. Okay. All right. So my next part about sort of before the session is to build it up. So it might be useful here to ask attendees to do some work before the event. So maybe you want them to read an article or listen to a podcast or watch a video that's relevant to whatever you're going to be doing. Maybe you want them to complete a survey to talk about their expectations or their current knowledge or their feelings about something. Or maybe you want them to bring a photo. So maybe you're doing a real sort of first stages of problem solving in a particular process or department. So maybe asking them to bring a photo that they can upload onto the mural. What I've seen done really nicely is people creating a YouTube video about the session. So actually about it and showing them a small piece of the mural of the workspace up front, but making that really engaging. Another way to do that is just to share sort of a teaser image of it, so people are starting to get interested in what's coming and what they're going to be working on. Another thing you can do is to sort of consider sending a virtual parcel of goodies. We talked just now about sending people M&Ms for them to use for this icebreaker. That's giving me lots of ideas actually. But another thing you can do is send a virtual parcel of goodies. So you might send some PDFs that people can print out. One example I've used recently is like sort of some flashcards to use in Zoom that people can color in. So you've got things like this where it says, I have a question, or, you're on mute, the thing that we've all been saying throughout 2020, or maybe some feedback cards around love this. So, and these could be branded, these could be specific to the company, but this sort of information, so people are getting something ahead of the event. Tracy, you were involved in an event recently with me in September where we celebrated a birthday of an organization.
Yeah,
and we sent decorations and we sent bunting with little flags, party flags, for people to color in and decorate, and people, that was really popular. So think about what you can be sending up front if this is a big event. If this is a weekly team event or a small thing, then you don't need to consider that. But if this is a large celebration or a large strategy event or something, you might want to put some thought into that. Okay, so we have another question, and we're going to speed now. We're going to start speedy. So question 4, what challenges have you encountered when working virtually? Do people have any challenges that they've found when they've been trying to
type those? So and I'll let Gemma type them in. Multitasking audiences. Oh yes.
Yeah.
Cool. Everyone turns off the camera.
Yes. No, I have this. This is a bugbear of mine. Yes. So yeah, people
not participating. Being able to see everyone. Not noticing when people put up their hands.
Ah, okay. So that's one of the reasons I like these kind of flashcards.
Mm-hmm. Because technical problems. Not with Mural, they said, but with other tools. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, internet. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but my internet seems to, with everybody working from home, my internet is more likely to go down these days.
Mm-hmm. Waiting your turn to talk.
Ah, okay.
It's easier to talk over people when you're in person with them. So people get interrupted, talking on top of each other, lag. Yeah, big one. Or how about when people freeze?
Oh, yeah.
And Kira brings up a great point. People are scared. They don't like it. They don't like technology. They're afraid. Keeping on time. That's another one. And I love Grace's too, how to make it interactive. That has been what keeps me up at night, actually, is, okay, let's make this, valuable, interactive, engaging, anytime I'm talking with audiences virtually.
And that, for me, that's what Mural is all about. That's what it's enabling that interaction and that engagement. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's not just us talking to people. It's us saying a little bit and then them working with us. Okay.
About 8 minutes left. I know we're probably we're a little behind, but it looks like you're enjoying it so far.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to try and go quicker. Right. So during the event, so whilst you've got people in there, this is about helping people get their bearings and using the tools that are available within Mural. Now, for this bit, I could talk for about 3 hours, so I've really cut this down. So my first thing is to welcome your guests into the Mural. So I will always start by sharing my screen. So I don't give people the link in advance into the Mural. I don't let them go in beforehand without me. I will always start by sharing the screen to explain the layout. So you're showing the layout of the workspace, just like I did at the beginning of this session, where I zoomed right out and I sort of said the layout. This is where we're going. This is what it looks like. And point out the menus. So the menus in Mural, this one at the side here on the left-hand side, which is kind of where you add stuff, where you add content. And then up at the top, there's certain tools as well that are important. Also important to explain the mini map. So I didn't actually do this at the beginning. So this mini map at the bottom left-hand corner is a map of the whole Mural, and it's showing me where we are. So that's this little orange square. I don't know if that's coming through on your video at all, but I can click around here. So if I get lost, I can actually click around this Mural, this little mini map of the Mural, and it can help me find where I'm going. So that's super helpful. Super helpful. Then also you can explain the outline. So remember earlier when I explained these sections down the side, so this is how people can navigate, and you can also put instructions in here. So you see in this top one where it says welcome and it says start here, I can edit those instructions to kind of literally tell people what they need to do if that's relevant. So you can explain that outline. We can also, and this is the most important thing to learn in Mural and to tell your attendees, and that's the undo button. So this little curly arrow up here that's next to the title of the Mural is the undo button. So if they do anything, they delete anything, they type over somebody else's work, they do something they didn't mean to do, they can just hit undo and that undoes it straight away. And the fifth thing is then to share the link in the chat. So explain the layout of the Mural first of all, explain how you can navigate and where you want them to go first of all, and then share the link in the chat. If you share that link in the chat, first of all, they're not going to be listening to anything you're saying because they're going to be playing around in the Mural. So do that after you've explained where they need to go. Okay, next up is about the tools. So using the tools that are available within Mural. So the first one is follow and summon. And this is one of the really, really useful tools in Mural. So if you see down at the bottom, there's this little icon with my photo on. So I can ask everybody to follow me. And what that means is they see the same view as I see. So if I want to walk them through something, or I want to make sure they're working in a particular area of the mural, I can ask them to follow me, or I can summon them. So that means they automatically get brought to me. I mean, the power here is incredible. So it's wonderful. Only I wish we could do this in real life. So you can see I've got someone else signed into this mural today. So this is actually one of my children. And it says follow visit. So this is a person called Visiting Owl, and they are following me. So if I click in here and I say summon, you can now see up at the top left-hand corner, it says that this person is following me. They can choose to follow me as well at any point if they want to, but they're now seeing the view that I see. They can choose to navigate away from that. If they just scroll out, then it will stop that connection. But I can make them follow me. Really useful. Second thing, sorry,
Gemma, we have a few more questions. Maybe we should end on maybe this part of it, and maybe try to answer those questions. And if anybody wants to stay for the live session, we could probably do that as well. So just a couple, just quick questions. Control Z, does that work for undo in Mural? No.
I don't know.
Okay, we don't know that. And then someone wants to know if there's voting features. Yes, there are, Amy. I think she's going to show that if she can stay after. And then I think there was one other one, and I can't remember what it was. I'll look.
Control Z does work. I've just tried it.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so very quickly. So can I talk through this? Are you going to let me talk? I know I'm talking too long.
Go ahead.
Okay, so one of the tools I just want to show you is dot voting. So just like we might do dot voting in person, there's also a tool to do this within Mural. So let's say we've had a brainstorm and we've got these 5 ideas. I can go up to the top menu here where it says voting session, and I can start a voting session. I can say, let's call it best ideas. Everyone gets 5 votes. It tells you what to do where you click it on. So I'm going to say, I really like idea 1 and idea 2, and I like idea 4, and I like this one the best. So, and actually, yeah, I really like that one. So I voted on these, and everyone does the same, and those are anonymous. I can then finish that voting session, and it gives me the results of the vote. So rather, you could do this just by stamping them or by putting some numbers on there, but you can actually do this within Mural as well, and that's super useful. Next one I'm going to show you is there is a timer. So there's a timer up here I can set for however long I want, and it actually shows people that timer counting down. I actually don't like to use that. I tend to use an external speaker like I do in real life and play music and tell people, right, we've got to the end of the song to finish this task. And you can actually have people contribute towards that playlist. And the last one that I'm going to tell you before Tracy tells me to stop, because this is my favorite, there's the celebrate button. So let's say you've worked really hard, you've solved some problem, you've done something wonderful, you can click celebrate and you get confetti. Isn't that just so pretty?
That's one of my favorites.
It's really awesome. So the other thing I was going to talk about was about after the event, and this is really about saving a copy of your mural. So let's say you've done loads of work on it, you've had lots of people involved. You can save a duplicate of the mural, and you can also actually save a copy. So it's up here next to the share button. You can save it as a PDF or as a PNG or as a zip of mural files. So it's really easy to do that, to then share. That's my timer going off. And then the other thing you can do is allow access to the mural afterwards. And I really love this with Mural because people can go back in, they can reflect, they can sort of keep it as a living document. So so have I got time to show people my examples of murals?
Yeah, why don't we just say we're at the top of the hour. Thank you for joining us. If you have to leave, you can go ahead and drop off. We hope you enjoyed this session. I'm going to go ahead and let Gemma go a little longer if you have time. And she can provide a link to go into the mural. She is also available for another session. So if you would like us to have join us another time, just keep an eye out on LinkedIn and we'll send out a note. So bye-bye, everybody. And if you want to stay longer, you can.
Cool. Yes, thank you. If you have to go, that's absolutely fine. I'm so sorry. See, I've talked far too much. But if you
No,
can,
you haven't, Gemma. This is a lot. This is really good. It's a lot of information, but really helpful, I think.
okay. So what I'm going to just do quickly before we move into the interactive section is I want to give you some examples of murals that I have used, ranging from very simple to sort of more complex. So the first one I'm going to show you, this is a mural, and this took me like 5 minutes. I'm a bit embarrassed about how simple and rubbish it is. But so this is a mural that we use for a meeting that happens every fortnight of people coming together to discuss things. And we use this in a sort of a lean coffee format that some of you might recognize. So ideas to discuss, discussing and discuss. So we move these sticky notes around. I'll add some content down here and then copy it over the side. And I use a virtual table as an icebreaker so people can come in and choose a seat at the table. So that's a really, really simple example. Slightly more complicated for those kata practitioners among you. This is my version of a kata storyboard, so a learner's storyboard. And I've just created this again with squares and different areas, and then use sticky notes. So it's the classic layout, but I've created areas to use with sticky notes for the experimenting record and the obstacles and so on. And you can see I've posted in screenshots or snips from Excel. So I've got some Excel graphs here. I've also got some photos and things stuck in there. So that's my version, my mural version of a classic storyboard. Another example, and again, this is a kata based thing. This is a copy of my version of the kata in the classroom. So this is Mike Rother's sort of training exercise for people new to kata. And this is, I have different areas for different teams of people. So if I have 3 teams of maybe 2 or 3 people. And in this game, in this training session, we use a puzzle. And these are actually puzzle pieces in Mural. So these people can work together and piece this puzzle together, they time it and so on, and they have these records. So I've created this simulation inside Mural.
Wow, that's awesome. Someone wants to know, is this a storyboard available to download, or is this something you created on your own?
I've created it by myself, but if people would like a copy of it and you have a Mural account, then if you email me, I'm very happy to share my template with you.
Wonderful.
But you'd need to have a Mural account to do that. But if you do, I'm more than happy to share the template. So that's and one thing just to say on this, so these different teams, I would have these in breakout rooms in Zoom. And so I've created an area on the board for each different team to work on, and I would then name the breakout rooms the same. So I might call one of the breakout rooms red team, yellow team, green team. So it's really obvious where on the board they go to work. And the final example I'm going to show you, this is an example, this is part of a mural from a recent full day event. So this is an organization, a group that I'm part of, and Tracy is also part of, the Women in Lean. And we held a full day, this is our version of a conference. So we had 35 women all together for the whole day, sharing all different subjects and all different information. And we created this mural. So there's a white space for each speaker. And then in the reflection time, people came into this mural and added their thoughts and added their images and added icons and so on. It was a really amazing thing to watch being created over that day. And it's a really wonderful artifact after the day for us to go back in and reflect and see what we did. So that's me finished. You'll see there's a bit of other content over here to the right-hand side. I'm going to include all of that in the PDF that we're going to give you afterwards. So there's a few more tips and things.
Wonderful. And by the way, that was the first conference, the Women in Lean conference, that I attended 100% since March. I haven't attended 100% of a conference. And so it's because of how it was facilitated, the exercises, the engagement. It was very well done. And Gemma was a big part of making that successful. Okay, so Gemma, thank you for sharing. We weren't too bad. We're over time, only 3 minutes right now. So that's great. Should we still share a link to go live? I think there's still some people maybe waiting to go live. So let me just finish these 2 slides and then we'll put a link in the chat window and then you can go into Mural. Okay, so our next webinar is December 17th at 11 p.m. Elizabeth is going to share how to conduct the best remote brainstorming. So really important. And it's something that she has dubbed the Swan Cycle. So I think you need to attend and to find out what it's about. but it'll bust your assumptions about how you've been brainstorming for I don't know how many years. But when she told me about the Swan Cycle, I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? No way, but she's right. So anyway, you need to chime in if you want to be really effective for brainstorming remote teams. So, which is probably the same audience.
Cool.
And
Yeah.
finally, let's just see here. Just stay in touch. Again, we've got a new location, a new home, a new community place called the Just in Time Cafe. We do have our website landing page up, and we have our email. More to come. Stay in touch. And if you have any interest in doing a webinar for remote facilitation effect, especially, give us a call, send us a note. We'd be happy to entertain thoughts, because this is really where people are, and this is where they need help right now. And that's where we want to be. So, okay, Gemma, so you're going to provide the link, and what are some instructions that we should have?
So first of all, like I said, before I share a link, I'm going to show you the workspace. So I've moved into so this is the mural that we're going to go into now, if we've got anybody left. So I really hope there's somebody left.
We've got about 28 people left.
Awesome. So I hope they can stay. So this is the mural you're going to go into. I'm actually, and this is another sort of facilitation tip, is I'm actually going to cover up these questions. So we've got some questions over on the side for an exercise we want people to participate in. I'm actually going to cover that up, and I'm going to lock that so that people are focused over here on the sort of icebreaker or the warm up. So I'm going to copy this link, and I'm going to copy this into the chat. So this is the bit I really love, is when you start to see people coming into the mural. So entering the mural.
Click on the link.
So just click on that link. Yeah, we've got a few people already. So we have a lobster and a duck and a sheep so if you can go into the mural and find where you're located on that map, and double click and add a sticky note and add your name to it. And then if you can add some icons around your sticky note. So I've got a few things around mine. And then if you're okay with all of that and you want something else to do, is add a star icon to somewhere in the world you'd like to visit. So I guess actually, so my place I'd like to visit is San Francisco. So if there's anyone out there in San Francisco and they'd like a house guest, then I'll make you a mural or something. But that's the place I most want to go in the whole world. So yeah, so I'm excited to see who's in San Francisco, because they're going to be my new friend.
Very cool. So what's really cool? I just comment, how easy was that to get in? I mean, that's what I love about this, is it's so easy. And you had mentioned earlier, Gemma, you could have up to 400 people in here at the same time on a visitor link. Is that right?
Yeah, you can have as many people. Well, yeah, I don't know. There must be an upper limit, I suppose. I've seen 300-400 on a couple of occasions. Their kind of guideline is if it's above 25, it can get patchy. That's why I say to keep it light and not have loads of images in there. But no, you can have hundreds of people in there working together.
That's great for conferences.
And look at this. I love to sit and watch people working. You can see everybody's little icons.
Definitely.
It's super cool.
Very nice.
So let's just have a little look around at who we've got. So we've got Mary, we've got Tracy over in Canada. We've got a few people close to San Francisco, Tracy. Oh, we have. Look, Angela Mill. Oh,
well, let's see. I know Yura's in Washington.
Nice.
So Sabine is in Carlsbad. See, this is my home state. So
okay.
Crazy how many people I know in our in our world that are in California. Cool. You can live anywhere, right?
We've got some over in Europe as well. And look at that, Sri Lanka. We've got someone in Sri Lanka. What is that?
Very cool.
Cool. So we can continue doing that, and people. So you will find. So if you zoom out on the map slightly, you can see there's a few blank sticky notes that have been deposited, like in the ocean. Mm-hmm. And this always happens. So this is when people are just getting used to it, because when you double click on the mural, it automatically adds a sticky note. So you can just sort of go around afterwards tidying those up. But these are loose sticky notes on the floor of your meeting room, basically. And that's fine. So should we then move over
Yes.
To the side to the question. So people, you can still keep adding your sticky notes and your images. So I'm going to unlock this section over to the right hand side, and you'll see there's 4 questions that we'd really like your feedback on. So you can, so the first one is around what your favorite takeaways from today. Then the green one is about how you see yourself using Mural going forward. So I'm really interested to know how people think that they might use it. Then another question for Tracy is, what would you like to see in future webinars? So if you've got examples or ideas about things you would like to see, then cover at the Just in Time Cafe. And then the purple one is just any other comments that you might want to add. So it's really lovely to see people starting to add content. I love this bit where you can sit back and watch people working, adding all their thoughts. It's really cool.
And they see it too, right? So we're obviously viewing Zoom, but this is what anyone in the mural could see.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now you see how you can see everybody's cursors and how they're moving around, and you can see their name or their sort of anonymous name.
Yeah.
For some people, they find that distracting. So in Zoom, if you're watching in Zoom, I'm just going to show you how you can stop broadcasting your cursor. So this is if you want to be sneaky and you want to move around the board without anyone seeing what you're doing, which is nice. But you can also click an option to not show cursors. So if you find it distracting having all of those names and those cursors moving around, which some people do, you can actually turn that off. And as the facilitator, I can actually turn off all non-facilitator cursors for everyone as well. So if I don't want people to be able to see where people are and where people are going, I can turn that off. Cool.
Wonderful.
So we've got some really nice things here so people didn't know about the tool, and we can make these post-its a little bigger so we can read them easily.
Yes, and I really like this webinar, Gemma. I mean, what's really nice is you thought about the audience. You were right. I mean, we had a higher number of people that weren't familiar with Mural, hadn't used it very often. So who knows, maybe we'll bring Gemma back for an intermediate session. What do you think?
Oh, so, yeah, let's do that.
That'd be great. You need to put that in the future webinar section.
Cool. a more advanced version. Yeah, no, it was really tough, to choose what I would talk about and, to cut out the bits. Because when I think when I first showed you some of the content, Tracy, it was like, yeah, you need to cut some of that out because you've got too much. So that was tough. It was tough, and I'm excited about it, and I'm really passionate about using it as a tool. So yeah, there's loads more I could talk about. The other thing, which I didn't say, it will be in the PDF that we're going to send out to people, but Mural have an amazing YouTube channel. So they have a really great YouTube channel with all kinds of tutorials and information and examples. And they have one playlist that's called the Mural Minute, where they tell you how to do things in single minutes. So it's really awesome. So if you want to learn more, don't do it so that you don't want to come back and talk to me about it. But there's loads of information out there, especially on their YouTube channel.
Well, Gemma, you did an awesome job today. We went a little over, but guess what? We held our ground on at least 30% of the people, even beyond the webinar time. And so that's awesome. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. And we really appreciate you putting this together and being our first guest on the Just in Time Cafe.
Thank you. I'm so thrilled. I'm really thrilled to be here. Thank you. And it was awesome. I loved it.
Is there anything we should read before we go ahead and have everybody exit our official session? Or did you want to share anything else about getting in touch with you?
Yeah, I'll have my contact details will be on the PDF that we're going to send out. So am I going to send that to you and then you send it out to people, I guess? Sure. Is that the way that's going to work? So my contact details will be on there, or you can go to my website, which is sparkimprovement.co.uk. I'm also on LinkedIn if you want to find me on LinkedIn. But yeah, if people have got questions or there's something they think about where they want to use it tomorrow or they want to use it next week, then feel free to contact me and if I can help you, then I will. Or if there's things that you think I missed or that I didn't include, I'd really love to know. I know there's some experienced Mural facilitators on the line as well. So if anyone's got any feedback on how we could have done it better, then I'm absolutely always open for that.
Yes.
I'm also happy to hang out, as long as we need. So if people we did talk about letting people in as panelists. So if maybe some of the people that we've got on the mural now, if they want to talk, then can we do that, Tracy? Or
I don't know if we are able to unmute people or not because it's
okay.
a webinar. Right, Elizabeth or Stephen? I think that's the way webinars are set up. I think we were going to try to maybe make it a meeting next time. Maybe we could just do a working session. And maybe we'll do it for like early December and just see if, whoever wants to participate. I believe we have anyone that subscribes to this, we can always send it out and say, hey, we're going to do an interactive session, maybe an intermediate session or something like that.
Cool. Yeah, no, that'd be great. It'd be really good. I really like it if we can talk to people, and hear what they're saying.
Yes.
But we're getting some great feedback here. So especially around, how do you see yourself using Mural going forward for things I thought I couldn't do while social distancing. So that's definitely really awesome. Brainstorming events and presentations.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's really good.
Does anybody have any final questions for Gemma before we end the session? You can type it in the chat, or I can make you a panelist and then you'll be able to actually speak, I think. Will the recording be available? Yes, it's going to be available on the JIT Cafe, JITcafe.com, and our YouTube channel. Any recommendation on what kind of Mural membership to get? What do you think about that, Gemma? So
the way Mural works, I think you can have a month for free, first of all, to try it. So if you sign up tomorrow, you get a month for free to have a go. I am a company of one, so I don't need a bigger license than just the single individual. And I think it costs me like 12 or 13 pounds a month. So that's, I don't see that that's the same as a coffee every week. From Starbucks or something. So I don't think there's many other options in terms of license fee, unless you've got a big organization and you want to have multiple people having a license.
We do have a question from Ariana. She says, sometimes people get overwhelmed with the amount of information visually. As an example, with one group affinity diagram, it was going too fast. It felt dizzying and hard to actually absorb the information. Any tips on how to manage pace or visual overwhelming for participants?
So one of the ways I do that, like I showed you when we came into this mural, and on the other one, is I cover stuff up with white boxes. So I'm limiting the amount that people can see. Just like if you were doing this in a meeting room with flip charts on a wall, you wouldn't uncover them all straight away. So I would cover things up. And then if you're doing a particular exercise where you need people to concentrate and focus on something, you can also sort of blank out areas as well, so that they actually can't be in there still brainstorming or still adding content. You're kind of physically stopping them by doing that. I do think there's something in, using sort of the palette of colors you're using, so maybe keeping that to a minimum. I tend to be really bad at that and use the whole rainbow of colors, but for some people that might be a bit overwhelming to have lots of colorful imagery. So maybe keeping to a couple of colors, a sort of simple palette.
Wonderful. And I'm going to ask you one last question, and then we're going to go ahead and close the session. And this is from Yura. How does this go with those who are non-tech or inexperienced with tools like this? Do you suggest doing an introductory video, and do they help? What are your thoughts on that?
So for people who've not used this before or used anything like it before, and who may be a bit of, scared of this kind of technology or not used to it. So there's a few things. So first of all, Mural have some really good introductory videos, like really short videos on their YouTube channel that you could send people, so they start to get an idea of what it is and what it feels like without having to be in there. But the other thing I always do with people who have not used it before or who have not used it with me before is I send them that link to a sandbox. So I send them, and I send quite a detailed email with, this is the link, this is what you do, this is what you're going to see, this is how you enter it, this is what I want you to do. And it explains to them how to drag and move around, how to navigate, how to add a sticky. So you're letting them test it. And I ask them then to let me know if they have issues. So some people will say, look, I just don't get it. And then I will actually one-to-one go on Zoom with them to talk it through. So that's my advice, is to let them try it beforehand and send them some quite detailed instructions of how to get in. I think, you know, and maybe it's because I use it all the time, I think it's fairly intuitive and it's easy to use. Certainly of the other options of this kind of software, I think it's the easiest. And once you can get used to that drag and navigate, and the sort of zooming in and out, then I think it's fairly easy. But letting people try it before the day is always a good idea, because then it's not stressful. You're not trying to help them while you're trying to also facilitate, and so on. Also really useful to have a co-facilitator if you can, so that if there are people with those technical difficulties, you've got someone else who can help them, and you can still carry on with the rest of the group.
Awesome. Okay, Gemma, thank you so much. As you guys can tell, Gemma is full of time. Well, maybe not time, but she has the energy and the heart to always be available and help. Just know she's in the UK. So what time is it over there right now?
It is 8:20 in the evening.
Okay, so probably might not be available, during the midday for us. But she'll answer any questions you have. I think she actually is probably going to do that Secret Santa thing and design that thing just for fun.
Yeah.
So I know who asked that. I'll hook you two up.
Cool, definitely. That sounds awesome. But yeah, if people have questions, please get in contact and please let me know. It'd be great to know.
Great. I hope you all enjoyed the webinar. Thank you so much. And we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.